The chosen one is not an ordinary warning but divine revelation from heaven. There are times in spiritual history when God chooses to intervene directly in the destiny of man. The 19th, 20th, and 21st of the month Aranachus, any 3 days. They are 3 milestones that have been sealed on the celestial calendar. If your soul is trembling without knowing why, if in your sleep you feel a deep movement in the spiritual atmosphere, then you are being warned. You are being invited into a total transformation where all previous limitations will be shattered, procrastination will end, forgotten promises will come to life. Those 3 days are not just 3 days. They are the door that opens to a whole new spiritual season. Before entering into this revelation, stop and take 3 steps. 1. Like the video to send a signal to the heavens that you are ready to step into the fateful moment. 2. Comment on the number 21, which symbolizes completion and new beginning to God's schedule. 3. Subscribe to the channel to join a community of 144,000 chosen people. And only the chosen ones stay until the end of the video, because only they are perceptive enough not to miss that pivotal moment when the spirit world is opening up. Not everyone feels this spiritual flow, but you do. During those 3 days, a collision between heaven and earth will occur, not in a physical sense but on a spiritual level. There are people who will see dreams with clarity never seen before. Some will awaken in the middle of the night, heart pounding, feeling the presence of the Holy One. And there are people like you who will begin to hear a vague but powerful call from within. Spiritual preparation is no longer an option, it is a command. Whoever is negligent will miss it. He who is alert will enter. Each office is at a Zakard crossroads, not a crossroads off geography, but a crossroads of destiny. During these 3 days, God will allow a layer of mist to lift from your spiritual eyes. What was once vague will become clear. Prayers that seem unanswered will bear counsel, and some will be answered in ways beyond expectations. But not everyone will get it. Only those who walk in obedience, in awareness, and are willing to let go of the past can receive the rain of blessings that is about to fall. Think about this. Why did God choose 3 days? Not 1 day, not 7 days. 3 is the number of establishment, the seal of the Holy Trinity, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. Each of those 3 days carries a separate layer of revelation. Thy first day is the day of enlightenment. The light comes to reveal what is hidden. This day is the day of judgment. You will be faced with the choice of giving up the old or holding in and losing the new season. The 3rd day is a day of transition, where spiritual wealth, calling, and power are released to get new discernment. These 3 days are on a journey, and whoever chooses the path will never be the same again. You may feel tired, you may feel confused, but that is a sign that you are on the spiritual inimic knows what is coming, and so he has been working hard to exhaust you, distract you, and mako doubt. But for now, lift your head up, take a deep breath, Anzi. In your spirit I will not miss, because if you are still here, still reading these lines, the choice has been made from above. You just move in. Wealth doesn't just come in financial form. During these 3 sacred days, you will see dorsopin in your relationships, in your vision, in your spiritual health, and in your psychological well-being. Things you once couldn't overcome will suddenly become easy. People you thought you would never contact will call you. The dreams you once gave up on will come back stronger, Thanivir. And you will know without a doubt that God has been there the whole time, just waiting for you to step in at the appointed time. Now, separate yourself from the abyssness and noise of the world. Take time each day, especially during those 3 days, to be silent before God. Pray not only with your mouth, but with your heart. Write down what Yahuwah and feel. Sometimes it's just a sentence, an image, but that little thing will be the key to open the next door in your life. God doesn't speak much, but when he speaks of everything changes. 3 days, 3 doors, 1 destiny. Will you enter or will you miss it? The choice is not far away. It is in the very moment you are living. And if you are ready, then go without hesitation, Bess. From this moment everything has begun to change. The chosen one, as you read this, a part of your soul has begun to sense the spiritual upheavals that are approaching. Those 3 fateful days were not just milestones in time but signals from heaven signaling entrance. No transformation happens without a shake-up first, and no recovery comes without a break first. You are replaced between shaking and kova. This is the silence between twoives, where God is examining the listening, alert and obedient souls. There will be changes not because you are doing something wrong, but because you are doing something right. You can't step into a new season without letting go of the old, and spiritual transformation often comes with isolation, misunderstanding, and even hurt. Don't panic if in the coming days you feel drained of energy or it seems like all silent. It is because the sky is repositioning you, taking you out of your old placedo, put you in the right place to receive. Be quiet in your soul, for it is in silence that God's voice speaks most clearly. Some people you once trusted will leave your life with easy days. Don't hold on. They didn't belong in your next season. Some doors will close unexpectedly. Don't hit it. New doors only open when you leave your old comfort zone, and there will be things you don't want to face in your spirituality that will rise up. Old hurts, feelings of abandonment, feelings of not being good enough, fears of failure, but you cannot feel what you refuse to face. During those 3 days, light will shine into every dark corner, not to condemn, but to liberate. Liberation begins when you stop resisting God's cleansing process. Just as gold is refined in fire, you will have to endure but that is not punishment. It is a testament to your worth. God does not refine what is worthless. He only prepares those he is going to use, and you are undeniably being prepared. If you feel challenged in every aspect, financially, emotionally, sleep, relationships, don't think of it as failure. It is a sign that you are being stretched to hold more. You cannot put new wine into old wineskins. You cannot enter a new ministry with an old mind. The next 3 days are 3 days off regeneration, not only of the soul but also of finer structure. Be prepared, not by effort, but by surrender. Not by plan, but by obedience. Dasmal things, turn off social media for a while. Write down the prophecy. You're said to go for a walk and pray, sitting quietly in a room with no lights. God does not appear in thunder, but in a whisper. And when you turn down enough noise, you'll hear what he's been trying to tell you all along. Maybe you've had doubts that you're not worthy enough to Bekosin, that you've made too many mistakes, or missed too many opportunities. But God does not call perfect people. He perfects those heckles during those 3 days. You will bear reminded that everything that has ever brought you shame will be used as a foundation for future glory. Every scar becomes a mark of grace, and every mistake, when surrendered, is transformed into wisdom beyond the years. If you feel small in the midst of cosmic movement, remember that Moses once fled, rebelled, David once failed, and Paul once persecuted, but all were Kasin and all had their day of return. The next 3 days could be that day for you. The day you no longer live according to the flesh, but according to the Spirit. The day you stop just existing and start living the reason you were born. Clear your mind. You don't have to understand everything. Just be open. Understanding comes later, but acceptance comes first. If you wait until everything is clear before you act, you will always be behind the spiritual movement. God blesses those who walk by faith, not those who stand still and wait with doubt. During those 3 days, take action even if you are uncertain. Keep walking even if you don't see the way. Believe without proof. Finally, remember that those 3 days did not end with a great miracle, but begin with a small change within. Don't look for judgment from heaven. Look for the shift in your heart, a new thought, a revived dream, a deeper longing for God's presence. That's where the magic begins. And from through the new season will break forth. Unstoppable. Unstoppable. You are in the right place at the right time. Now just need the right and the right reaction is obedience, surrender, consciousness. Those who doubt will see what others only hear about. The chosen one. If there is one thing you need to hold on to in the next 3 days, it is spiritual steadfastness. Because after something happens, the first temptation is always doubt. Suspect. Doubting whether I really heard. Doubt that the spiritual can be swept away by material reality. But remember this, that no word that comes forth from the mouth of God shall return to him void. If he has spoken it, it will happen not in human time, but in eternal time. And if you continue to keep the faith, you will see the promise come true. Those 3 days are not the end. They are the gateways that open up a chain of continuous changes in your life. You will see things that seem pointless start to connect together. Chance encounters are predestined. Dreams that were thought to be extinguished are now burning again. The wounds that once held you back suddenly fade away. Not because they are forgotten, but because they have been healed. The new season will not be like the old one. No longer a struggle to survive it, a leisurely walk in divine guidance. However, you will need to learn to walk in silence. Because not everyone understands the change that is happening in you. Some will question, some will mock, some will call you a spiritual deluded person, but you are not called to explain. You are called to live right. Your obedience is the strongest evidence of your faith, and time will reveal what God is beginning in you. Let your actions be the undeniable statement. After those 3 days, God will begin to open up things that have been delayed. Not every door will open right away, but you will know which ones are no longer suitable. Discernment will become sharp. Peace will no longer be fragile, but solid as a rock. You will no longer be driven by emotions, but will be guided by revelation. The decisions you make will no longer come from a place of scarcity, but from a place of abundance and clarity. And then you will see that true wealth does not come from the bank, but from a strong state of mind. When you enter a season of blessing, you don't have to shout for others to see, because the blessing itself will speak. Others will ask you why you don't worry anymore. Why are you so energetic? And you'll just smile because you know you've lived through 3 fateful days that they never knew about. That is the difference between the called and the chosen. There is an increase waiting for you. Butu cannot go in with the old mind. The wealth that God is about to entrust to you is not just a means. It is a spiritual instrument. Money will become a tool for healing. Resources will become the bridge to bring others to light. You will not be dominated by material things. Because Yahweh have been tested in the fire of 3 holy days. And because you have overcome, you will only be blessed. You will become generous. Now, begin to live as if the promise has already been fulfilled. even if you haven't seen it with your eyes. Speak, act, and decide from the position of the recipient. Because a true transformation begins when you don't need evidence to believe, but believe enough to create a witness. God is looking for such people. People who are not shaken by circumstances but are anchored in trust. You are one of them. You have gone through the fire, you have kept the faith, and so you are prepared for something greater. Embrace the new role you are about to be thrust into. It may not be what you imagined. It may not be glamorous. It may not be perfect, but it will bring everlasting results. One word from Yukon, save someone from drowning. Your one act of obedience second, set a family free. One firm decision from you can change your entire lineage. That is real power, not to control but to influence, not to impose but to transform. And finally, know that this is just the beginning. Those 3 days are the starting point, not the destination. Every step you take from now on will be built on the foundation God laid in those days. Don't look back. Don't regret. Don't doubt. The old season has ended. You have walked through the door, and this door only opens. Walk with gratitude, with courage, and with spiritual eyes always open, because from now on, your life will never be the same, and you will never go back. The chosen one. As those 3 sacred days come to a close, you will enter a time when God's silence is no longer an absence, but a sign of activity. There are stages after the transition where you'll hear no sound, see no signs, but feel an invisible peace enveloping you. It's not procrastination, it's shifting. Just like when a seed has broken into the ground, it doesn't need to make a sound to know that it is growing. You too. During this period, steadfastness will be your greatest weapon. Before entering the next doors, God will test you not with difficulty but with normality. You will no longer have clear signals, recurring dreams, burning sacred feelings. Instead, you will have silence, not to make you doubt, but to see if you are faithful in the little things when there is no plasia. You might be wondering if I'm being stagnant, but no, you're being set up. Foundation builders always have to work insolence out of sight, but when the work is completed, the whole world will see that this is the time for you to live by revelation, not by emotion. What God said during those 3 days will become the guiding principle for future decisions. And if you are faithful to what has been said, you will not need to chase after blessings. They will catch up with you. Every small action, every honest choice, every gracious word is show you build the path for bigger things to come. And you'll be surprised when you look back at a few months later and see that it was that quiet persistence that opened the big door. Be careful though. The next attack does not come from outside but from within your own mind. The enemy knows that you haven't entered the promised land, so he will use in you strategies to make you doubt yourself. It will whisper, are you sure you were reached, and is that really going to happen? Why hasn't anything changed? And if you agree with those words, you will inadvertently open the door for doubt to creep back into thief. Learn to say no when doubt knocks on the door. Declare I have walked away, and I will not return. During this period, an important habit to keep is to write down a very thing God has said. Write it down not because you will forget, but because there will be times when your emotions make you doubt. Those words will become spiritual weapons that remind you that you have been met, and their encounter never fades away. It just waits to be reactivated by faith. Keep a spiritual journal like Yawold, a treasure trove, because it is in those pages that you will find yourself again whenever your heart begins to waver. You also need to choose your companions more carefully than ever. Not everyone deserves to know your new season. There are sacred things that should be kept secret until death. Do not share revelation with people of worldly mind. They will stifle it with reasoning. Don't seek validation from someone who has never walked by faith. They will reflect their doubts back onto you. Instead, find a community of like-minded people. There you will not be judged, be encouraged. And if, as you move forward, you'll find yourself not feeling as excited as you did at first, know that it's a sign of maturity. Emotions no longer control you. Beliefs become stable. Spiritual sensitivity is no longer dependent on music, lighting, or emotional atmosphere. You have a revelation bearer without needing to be pushed by others. This is the moment when you move from the level of hearing the word to the level of living the word, and Thatha's power beyond all miracles. God did not call you to be famous. He calls you to be effective. Maybe you are not recognized by the crowd, but you are creating a styron, the spiritual realm. Your silent prayers are pushing back the darkness. Small acts of kindness are awakening hope in others. And our very life, though seemingly silent, is radiating the frequency of heaven, which no devil can imitate. You don't have to do something big to be considered an influencer. You just need to obey continuously. Finally, always remember this. With blessings comes great responsibility. The new season is not just for you to enjoy, but for you to do. Ask God, who should I serve in this season? And he will show you a person, a team, a mission. You wear is not to be kept, but to grow. And when you do that right, you will see a chain of blessings continue to unfold. Not because you demand it, but because you observe it. For whoever is faithful with little will be entrusted with, and you who went through those 3 fateful days are the candidate for that, the chosen one. What is special about people who go through a sacred transition season is not the burning emotions but the inner stability, an unshakable certainty that I was in the right place at the right time. After 3 days of being sealed, by God you are no longer the same person. Even though nothing has changed visibly on the outside, the spiritual world has begun to revolve around you on a new axis. And this is when you need to live on consistency so that revelation is not just a moment, but becomes a way of life. Consistency is the mark of spiritual maturity. It's when you still pray when you don't feel anything, still worship when there's no band, still obey when no one because you know you don't live to please your feelings, but to please the one who called you out of darkness. Those 3 days do not give birth to temporary emotions. They give birth to a new identity, and that identity is only fully expressed when you persist in living in the light. Even when the darkness tries to pull you back, you need to be careful of distractions during this period. Once a person gets over the spiritual excitement, they easily fall back into the old rhythm of life. Useless conversations, procrastination habits, and backbreaking relationships will silently come knocking at your door. And if you don't guard what you get will be lost, not because God took it back, but because you accidentally lost access. Remember, revelation does not defend itself. It is up to you, the recipient, to keep it. During this phase, you will also be tested by procrastination. God's promises never come on your schedule, they come on His schedule. You might expect that after those 3 days, something would break out immediately. Finances change, doors open, dreams come true, but sometimes the delay is the test. God is not silent to discourage you. He is silent to test whether you will continue walking as if the word were fulfilled. And when you are faithful, that word will come to pass. At the right time, in the right way, in the right place. One important thing you need to keep in mind right now is your own spiritual ecosystem. Just as a garden needs light, water, and regular care, your soul needs to be nourished by Hada's right, her life-giving prophecies. Commune with people, eliminate sources of influence that make you doubt yourself. Because the space you'll create in your mind determination there, the seed of revelation will grow on it. Learn to live with open spiritual eyes. Sometimes God will not speak in loud voices, but in small details. A sentence, in conversation, an image while you're observing a Bible passage that jumps off the page. Those who have had their spiritual eyes open during the 3 holy days will begin to see God in all things. And Thetis, the sign that you have entered a deeper level of presence. Capture ethos moments. They are not random, they are recluse to the next journey. If you have a strange urge to help someone start a project or change direction in your career, don't ignore it. God often sows idea before He sows the fruit, and the idea comes before the resource comes. Your job is not to make it happen, but to take thy first step. As you step, the ground opens. The land will open when you dare. Heaven will. Every great thing in the kingdom of heaven begins with a small act at the right time. Don't judge your effectiveness by the eyes of others. People measure by achievements, but God measures by obedience. Maybe you are crying in tears and have not seen the harvest. Maybe you are working quietly without any recognition, but God is recording every second of your faithfulness, and when the time comes, He will announce you to the world, not so that you may be glorified, but so that He may be glorified through your life. Finally, know that the past 3 days were not just a moment, but the breaking point of the entire spiritual calendar. You can't go back anymore. Do not regret. Do not try to keep what God has cut off. Don't build tents where He only wants you to pass through. You are being called to move forward not in your own strength, but by the constant guidance of the Holy Spirit, and as you take one step at a time in obedience, you will not only see your life change, you will see the world around you change. Because when a person is chosen to live right, everything around will also line up according to God's will. The chosen one, once you have passed through the gate of the 3 days of revelation, you will realize that what is important is not the strong emotions, but the deep awareness that you have entered a new rhythm of Zen. In this rhythm, nothing is random. A chance encounter, a seemingly innocuous phone call, a faint opportunity. All are around you to test you. God does not need noise to demonstrate His power. He operates most powerfully in the silence and stability of those who know who they are. This is the stage where you start looking back at old days with new eyes. What you once considered a failure now turns out to be a jewel in disguise. The person you blamed for leaving you. Now you realize that they were just tools used to push you to the right point of awakening. Every twist, every delay, every loss has played its precise role in the spiritual symphony of your life. And you are grateful for that. Gratitude is the clearest evidence that you have been healed from the burdens of the past. However, let your heart not be complacent. A new season doesn't mean rest. It means responsibility, just as a soldier connotes. After a victorious battle, you also need to guard the spiritual land you have just entered. The enemy does not give up easily. It will no longer attack head-on, but will find a way to penetrate through familiar weaknesses, fatigue, loneliness, impatience, and you have to be awake. Because if a person receives a revelation and does not keep it, that revelation is also fruitless. This is when you need to ask the question, what does God want you to do with the revelation you have received? Because revelation is not for display but for implementation. He did not give you light for you to sit around and admire. He gives light to you to walk in darkness and leads others out. What you just experienced is not just for you, it is a preparation for a greater mission. And if you dare to say yes one more time, the next door will open again. Maybe you didn't see the way clearly. That's because God doesn't give maps. He simply gives step-by-step instructions, and each step of obedience opens up the next. Don't wait for everything to be cleared before you take a step. Clarity comes after obedience. Do the smallest thing you'll feel Him urging you to do. Call a friend for encouragement, send a prayer message, write down an idea, start a project, however small. If begunnen, obedience, it carries the weight of heaven. As you go forward, you will find that God begins to give you on your dreams. Not the kind of dream at night, but the kind of persistent desire during the day. An idea keeps coming back to you. A vision of the future, that bath scares and excites you. An old dream that seemed to have died out burned brightly again. It's not imagination, it is the voice of destiny. And if you agree to follow, you will see things beyond understanding happen in an incredibly short time. But be aware. Success is not the only sign of being on the right track. Sometimes you won't see results right away. There will be times when you stumble along the way. There will be times when you will doubt whether you are really hearing correctly. But remember, faith is not a feeling but a choice made over and over again, every day, to trust God over circumstances. When you stay faithful in the midst of days when nothing happens, you are sowing seeds for a harvest that cannot be stopped. You will also notice something strange. People who once didn't understand you now come to you for advice. Those who once laughed at you now ask you to pray for them, not because you changed them, but because you changed. The light inside you is so bright, so strong that no one can deny it. And that light will be a living testimony that needs no defense. You don't need to argue, just keep walking in the truth you have been given. Go on living each day with the that you carry an eternal weight. You are no longer normal. Every choice, every word, every relationship, all have an impact. You may not see it right away, but the spirit world is responding to your every move. And every time you choose forgiveness over blame, trust over doubt, sacrifice over selfishness, you stir the heavens. You are reliving as a person of the kingdom, and not a victim of the world. Let those 3 days be not just a memory, but a foundation, not a climax, but a starting point. And if you remain faithful to what you have been given, God will continue to give you more, not because you outserve it, but because you have proven yourself mature enough to handle it. You walk it through fire, you didn't back down, and so you have been recognized not by men but by heaven. And once heaven takes note, no power can deny your role in Thea's age. The chosen one, at this point, you are no longer the one looking for. You are real living proof that the promise has been fulfilled. No need for recognition, no need for encouragement, no need for praise. Just keep walking because your very presence seen. The world carries a different frequency. That frequency cannot be imitated, cannot be stolen. It comes only from those who have gone through fire, through the awakening, and passed the sacred 3-day test, that most missed. Now you are called to build, not for yourself, but for future generations. Revelation never stops with one. It is always born in community, in mission, in legacy. God doesn't just save you to bless you, He saves you to be through you. Many of those will receive deliverance. You err not the end point of mercy, but the middle point. And that changes the way you look at every decision, every choice, every opportunity when you are entrusted with a new wealth, whether it is resources, ideas, or influence. Ask, who can I use this to pave the way for? Because true wealth is nothing but circulation. Water is on like lean when it flows, but if it is kept still it becomes stagnant. Likewise, grace that is not used withers. You are given to give old age, and when you begin to live with that spirit, you will see multiplication beyond all expectations. You will see doors that open without corners, people you never thought would help. Take the initiative to seek out resources that seem out of and are suddenly placed in your hands. That's because you're ready. It's not because you're perfect, it's because you have thorough mindset. God doesn't choose the best, He chooses the most ready. And once He sees that you can be trusted, He will give you more than you ever asked or imagined. Don't be surprised if you start attracting attention only from humans but also from the spirit world. There will be more subtle challenges, more glamorous invitations, more subtle traps. But you were raised in silence. You are no longer driven by instant gratification. You didn't need everything right away. You live at God's pace, and that is your most powerful weapon. A steadfast heart that is not shaken by circumstances or public opinion. From now on, let every action of yours reflect divine wisdom. Say less, but every word has weight. Do less, but each work has spiritual results. Choose less, but each choice has eternal value. You don't live to do much. You live to do right, and that is the difference between the average person and the chosen one. Please keep praying. It doesn't have to be long. Sometimes just a sigh in presence. Sometimes it's a whisper. In the middle of the street, God does not require form. He seeks sincerity. And you better than anyone understand that. Keep the fire burning inside even if no one sees it. Keep on sowing even though you don't see the harvest yet. Keep on loving even if it is not reciprocated. Because God does not let any action go to waste. All are recorded and will bloom in due time. Now, look further. Who is Lunju, who is silently learning the way you live? You pray, you walk. You may not know their names, but you are influencing them. Live like a mirror, not to show off, but to reflect light. You are Kala, not to stand out, but to be different. And that difference is proof that one person living according to God's will can change the spiritual atmosphere in which he stands. And finally, remember, this journey is not alone. Even though there are times when you have Toak alone, you are never alone. Angels are being sent out. Communities are being connected. Other chosen ones are rising up all over the world. And soon, each spark will connect into a great, unquenchable fire. You are not just part of the transformation. You are the agent of it. Keep going. Be faithful. Be steadfast, because what is coming is greater than the revelation you have just experienced. And when it comes, you won't be surprised because ye are ready.